Pentatonic scales and blues scales, which are really just one extra note, are much easier to use well and move around them when you can easily recognise the shape they make on piano in one go in whatever key you need. I want to show you a really simple visual method I use with my students, and by the end of the video you'll understand them and you'll be able to find major and minor pentatonic scales and major and minor blues scales. Pentatonic scales contain 5 notes. If you forget that part, just think of a pentagram which has 5 sides. Okay, so this is the method. We'll start off by finding the C major pentatonic scale, and I'll show you some other keys afterwards. Picture a C major chord, a C major triad in root position, so the C on the bottom. Of course, you need to know the chord in the key you're after first, but most people learn chords before pentatonic scales. It's probably best to do it that way around anyway. So we're using something already familiar as a visual framework to help us find the notes in the pentatonic scale. A major chord already gives us 3 out of the 5 notes in a major pentatonic scale. All we need to do is add a note a whole step above the bottom note. That's here. So that's a half step and then a whole step. Or we can say a whole step in between these two. And then just add another whole step above the top note. That's here. And there's our C major pentatonic scale. So that's the method. Take a major triad, find the note a whole step above the bottom note, and then find the note a whole step above the top note. Now we can also do this another way by picturing the whole C major scale and then taking away the 4th note and the 7th note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we get the same result. Now this may be an easier way for you to understand the scale. A major pentatonic scale is a major scale minus the 4th and the 7th degree. But I think the chord method is easier visually for beginners especially to see the shape quickly in one go, which is what we really want. And that makes more of a difference actually when you get to some of the other keys with a real mixture of black and white notes and wavier shapes. But use whatever method works best for you. The best way to really learn new chords and scales is to know what ingredients they're made of, what intervals they're built with. So a major pentatonic scale contains these intervals, these numbers, which is a 1, a major 2nd, a major 3rd, a perfect 5th, and a major 6th. They're the full interval names, but we can just say 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. The major triad already had the 1, 3, and 5, so we just learned how to spot the 2 and the 6 around those notes. Once you know a major pentatonic, you can easily turn it into a major blues scale. Just quickly though, if this video has been helpful so far, then please let me know by clicking the like button because that really helps out the channel. All we're going to do is add the note in between the 2nd note and the 3rd note, so a half step in between them. We might call this a blue note, but the interval name would be a flat 3 or a minor 3rd. If that's the major 3rd, this is a half step below it. And we can use that to add a bit of kind of soulful bluesy flavour on top of the major pentatonic. You just have to be careful how you use that flat 3 though, although that's a topic for another day. Often you might hear people only refer to the blues scale, and they normally actually mean the minor blues scale, but there is a major blues scale too. It's just the major pentatonic plus the flat 3, and that is the note in between 2 and 3. Okay, we're going to make this all nice and clear by doing a couple of quick examples in 2 other keys. Let me know in the comments though, I'd be interested to hear what scales and chords have you learnt so far and how are you getting on with it? To find the E major pentatonic scale, we're going to take an E major triad. We're going to add the note a whole step above the root. That's going to be here. See, half step, whole step, and then a whole step above the 5th, the top note. So that's going to be here. And there's E major pentatonic. Of course, we've kept the spacing of the notes the same, so it sounds the same, just a bit higher up. Or you can picture the E major scale, and just like we did before, take away the 4th note and take away the 7th note. To turn that into the E major blues scale, you're going to find the note in between the second and the third. That's here. To find the B flat major pentatonic, we're going to take the B flat major chord and we're going to add on the note a whole step above the root. That's going to be here. And then a whole step above the fifth, the top note. So from here, that is here. Or you can picture the whole B flat major scale, take away the fourth note, and take away the seventh note. To turn it into the B flat major blues, we just add the flat 3, which is in between 2 and 3. I have a PDF to go along with this lesson. There's a link below, and that recaps everything in the video plus more, and there's a glossary of all these major and minor pentatonic and blues scales in every key. And over on Patreon, I'll be posting a couple of companion videos soon where you can follow along and practice finding these in every key. So thanks to everyone who supported the channel over on Patreon. Okay, on to minor pentatonic scales, and for this we're going to use a minor triad to find them. Starting with C minor, and again, this already gives us 3 out of the 5 notes we need. Like a major chord, a minor chord also has a 1, a 3, and a 5. But this time, the third is a minor third or a flat 3. It's a half step below where the major third was. All we do then is add a note, a whole step in between the minor third and the fifth. That's here. See, there to there is a whole step, or coming down from there, that's backwards, a whole step. And then what's useful for the next one is to picture an octave. So we're on a C chord, so the octave is the next C up. And we're going to add the last note a whole step again below that. So a whole step below C is B flat. And there is our C minor pentatonic. You can also find that by jumping a minor third from here, which is 1.5 whole steps. But I found most people prefer coming down from the octave. And if you already know a minor 7 chord, so in this case C minor 7, well that's these 4 notes. So if you know that, you only have to add on this one here, the 4th, in between the 3rd and the 5th. So use that if that's already familiar for you. And kind of like before, all of these notes, the 5 notes in the minor pentatonic scale, are 5 out of the 7 notes of the natural minor scale. This is the C natural minor scale. If we take away the 2nd degree of the scale, 1, 2, and the 6th degree, 3, 4, 5, 6, we are left with the minor pentatonic scale. So the intervals that build this scale are the root, number 1, the minor third, the 4th, the perfect 4th, the 5th, or the perfect 5th, and the minor 7th, or we can say the flat 7. Like I say, it's really good to remember those labels, but probably more important, really practically, is to be able to see those shapes easily. I do have videos on building minor scales too. There's actually a few types of minor scale, and it's really important and helpful to learn that properly. So I'll link to those in the description below. Let me show you how once you know a minor pentatonic, you can easily turn it into a minor blues scale. Remember, people often just call this one the blues scale. That's normally what they mean if they say that. All we're going to do is add on 1 note in between the 4th and the 5th. So that's here. So it's a half step in between. We're going to call this the flat 5. You may also hear sharp 4. In this particular case, either's fine really, but for consistency, I'm going to stick with flat 5. And again, we might call this a blue note. We have to be careful how we use that note. Usually it wants to pull up to the one above it, or it wants to pull down to to the one below it. So we can use this scale to help us create that distinctive bluesy sound. So the minor blues scale is just the minor pentatonic scale plus the flat 5, which is the note in between 4 and 5. So let's see how this looks in a couple of other keys. To find an E minor pentatonic, picture an E minor triad, and then we're going to add the note a whole step in between the 3rd and the 5th, the minor 3rd and the perfect 5th. That's going to be here, so a whole step there and a whole step there. Then picture the octave, E to E, come backwards a whole step, that adds on the flat 7, and then we've got E minor pentatonic. Or we can picture the whole E natural minor scale and take away the 2nd note and the 6th note. Then to turn it into the E minor blues scale, we're just going to add on the flat 5, which is in between the 4th and the 5th. So that is here, B flat. To find F minor pentatonic, we're going to take an F minor chord, and then we're going to add on the note, the 4th, a whole step in between the 3rd and the 5th, the minor 3rd and the perfect 5th. That's here, so that's B flat. So a whole step above there and a whole step below there. And then we're going to look at the octave of the root, F to F, and come a whole step below, which gives us the flat 7, the minor 7. So there's F minor pentatonic. Or you can imagine the whole F natural minor scale and take away the 2nd note, 1, 2, and the 6th note, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be taking away the flat 6. That leaves us with F minor pentatonic. Then to turn that into the F minor blues scale, what you may hear referred to as just the F blues scale, we're going to add on the note in between the 4th and the 5th. So that's just here. So we're calling that the flat 5. And I just want to point out, if we call that the flat 5, we can't really call that note B, because the note C is 5. So to be a kind of 5th, we have to use the same letter. So a half step below C, if we flatten C, we have to call this a C flat. But it's the same key on the piano as B. Remember, you can get a PDF to go along with this lesson. There's a link below. I'm going to do a follow-up video talking about relative major and minor pentatonics and blues scales. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And next, check out one of these videos for some practical tips to help with changing chords and your accuracy playing. Thanks for watching.